We'll start recording right on cue. Chris, nice to see you as well. Hope everything is going well on your side. Perfect. All right, guys. So welcome to the information session on Desjardins and Startup in Residence call for applications for Paytech companies. Really excited, like I said, to have you guys here. I'm going to be the one running the info session for you guys. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Leal El-Hadi. I'm the Executive Director of FinTech Cadence. And my sole role here today is to make sure that you guys feel prepared and have enough information to be able to decide if your startup is going to be going through the call for applications with the Startup in Residence team. As I mentioned to you guys a few seconds ago, we will be recording this session. So if there's anything you don't want to say on camera, keep that in mind. Nothing on the chat gets recorded, so you guys have that. But most importantly, and the reason why we are recording is so that you guys can have all of this content for reference for you guys and can refer back to it throughout the next few days. And then as well, if you do have team members that you want to share it with, you can obviously share the link with it there. Because I do know we're also going to get this question, I'm just going to quickly highlight that tomorrow, you guys will be getting a follow-up email with the recording, a link for the recording, as well as everything that I'm discussing here on the PDF. So you guys will have access to that as well. So no stress if you don't catch a specific slide, but definitely happy to go back to it if you need it. I also do want to quickly just introduce a few people from the FinTech Cadence team who you guys have probably been in touch with, primarily starting with Gigi, who is the Director of Operations for our organization. Also joined by Maria, who's supporting on programming. Perfect. You see they're wonderfully waving to you. And we also have Belinda, who I think most of you would have spoken to at this point. And Belinda leads our startup outreach and the FinTech hub as well. So we have everybody here helping and supporting you guys in the next few days to go through that. What we're going to be covering today, and if you see anything here that you want to make sure we do cover and you don't see it, sorry, just let me know. Happy to stop and kind of include that in there. But like I said earlier, the main goal for the session is to give you enough information for the call for applications. I will be presenting in English, but if you guys have any questions in French, please don't hesitate to unmute and ask it in French or type it on the chat. We're definitely able to answer that in both French and English. And while this is a presentation, I think all of us are pretty comfortable with the Zoom at this point. So just raise your hands or wave at the camera, and I'm more than happy to pause and kind of answer any questions you guys have. The main purpose of today, like I said, now for the third time, is to give you guys enough information. So if I'm just kind of talking and having a monologue and you guys are not getting use out of it, then it's a waste of all of our time. So just make sure you stop me, flag me, and ask any questions that I have. How does that sound? You guys are good so far? You still with me? Amazing. I love those thumbs up. And then maybe one last thing I'll just say for administrative purposes, if there is anything that you guys do have questions for and you don't want to ask it today, then you can reach out to us at any point at info@fintechcadence.com. That should be pretty easy to remember, but we can also add that on the chat in case you need it. I'm going to also explain to you guys, again, if you're not familiar with FinTech Cadence and this call for applications model that we do with Desjardins, I'll also be explaining who's who in the process. I'm very, very excited as well to be welcoming Josephine, who's a senior advisor at the Startup in Residence team, and she'll be able to talk to you really in more details about the call for applications and the work that they do in Startup in Residence. I'll go over the technicalities of what's going to be happening from the application to when you get accepted to entry into the Startup in Residence program. And like I said, give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions if you have it towards the end. But again, don't hesitate to stop me throughout. At this point, I hope you guys all know that the call for applications is regarding Paytech, and I'm assuming that the fact that you guys are here, you've kind of seen one way or another your solution is in the payment space. So the call for applications that the Startup in Residence team is really looking for are FinTech companies that are helping make the lives of Canadians easier through providing payment solutions that are practical, fast, and secure. So it's a broad definition, it's a broad outlook on what payment companies and FinTech are doing. But the main goal here really is to make sure that these are innovations that are pushing Canadians' lives, and whether it's individuals or businesses, forward. Now you've seen FinTech Cadence is here. We've talked about Startup in Residence. So I'm just going to quickly explain to you what the role is for everybody and what the relationship you guys are going to have as you go through this journey. The main challenge, of which I just kind of presented and read to you earlier, is presented by the Startup in Residence team. Startup in Residence team does wonderful work within the FinTech landscape. The Startup in Residence program is a department out of Desjardins, and they are looking to support early stage founders in different sectors, and primarily we're supporting them in the FinTech sector, and they do so through investments, coaching, and guidance throughout the journey with the Startup in Residence program. And so they're the ones that are leading and very interested in the payment space. So they're the ones leading this call for applications. How many of you guys do not know who we are? Let me get you guys a bit more involved in this. And it's okay if you've never heard of us before. Chris, what? Okay, would anyone like a quick introduction of who we are? Maybe I'll just ask that way. I see there's a few chats here. Perfect. Okay, I'll just very quickly go over who we are. We're a nonprofit organization based out of Montreal that serves all of Canada. And our main focus is to help support the fintech ecosystem. And how we try and do that is through three models. One, education, and that's through either working on educating programs and curriculums in universities, working with professionals to help guide them through what does fintech look like, or working with startups to help in their fintech knowledge components. The second thing that we do is an incubation style model. And so that you guys are very familiar with. We incubate startups. We don't take any shares and we don't charge startups for our programs. And then the last thing, but we don't also provide any funding. I should just be very clear there. And the last thing that we do is we collaborate directly with financial institutions to help them in their fintech strategy. So don't think of us as a consulting branch there, but think of us more as a startup and focusing on fintech solutions more to support in that way. Okay. That's a quick intro to who we are. We are everywhere in fintech. So if you guys are going to stay within the ecosystem, you will hear more and more about us. But there is also a quiz about who we are towards the end. So we'll see how many of you guys paid attention to that little blurb. We are also very, very excited this time to have Payments Canada come in and be the API partner for this call for applications. And for those of you who are not familiar with Payments Canada, they regulate the payment space on a federal level. You will be getting to meet them throughout the call of applications journey. And they are the ones who are providing API data sets for you guys to experiment with and explore, because they are particularly interested in seeing how they can encourage innovation with the real-time rails coming up in the next year or so. Accordingly, word on the street. I also want to do a very, very quick shout out here to our community partners. So if you guys have come through them, or if you guys are looking for support outside of this, then these are excellent organizations that you guys should be aware of and hopefully have some kind of connections with. Atlantic FinTech out of the region, out of the Atlantic region, excuse me, DMZ out of Ontario and most of Canada, Veta Innovation out of the Atlantic region, and of course, Payments Canada, who we just discussed very quickly. So that's really the kind of stakeholders that you guys are going to be engaging on from a high level, from the foundation of the call for applications. You will definitely be meeting more industry experts, and I'll go through that in a little bit. But I do want to start by introducing Josephine, who, like I said earlier, is a senior advisor for open innovation in the Startup in Residence program. And Josephine, I'll hand it over to you to introduce yourself and the Startup in Residence program as well.
Sure. Thank you so much, Layat, for the introduction. So hi, everyone, and nice to meet you all. So to give you more context, Startup in Residence is powered by Desjardins and has been created 5 years ago with Eric. We are now a team of 4 persons, Eric, Sarah, Niv, and I. We all love coaching entrepreneurs to leverage their project. This is something we have all in common. To do so, we have also a strong expert network to make sure we provide you good advice and good support. About the program, we use a very personalized approach to make sure our program suits your needs at all time. And our program is customized according to your development stage, your competencies, your current challenges, and so on. So basically, when you begin the program, we organize a diagnosis session with experts to analyze your current situation in order to help you identify the next steps to achieve your objectives. And during the program, we will also assess if we want to invest or not in your company. We will chat more about it at later stages of the process, but it comes as a convertible debt. Then regarding our calls for application and the startup selection, we select entrepreneurs through call for application like this one and have accompanied so far about 20 startups. We make call for application in various industries such as data and artificial intelligence, insurance, health, finance, and payment technology today. We are looking for open-minded, passionate entrepreneurs with relevant businesses. And when I say relevant, I mean we are looking for projects which answer to problems and not a project seeking for a problem. We also make sure our program is relevant to help you grow your startup given your current situation. And sure, it comes with a grant at the end if you are selected. So yeah, I'm very excited to discover all of your projects, and please don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Josephine. Maybe I'll see if there's any questions right now before we continue on, and then either raise your hands, unmute, or put it on the chat, and I'm happy to give a bit of space there. All right, so far so good. So we can keep going, but like I said, flag us if you do want us to stop. So what is this process going to look like for you guys? So I'm guessing the fact that you're here in the info session means that there's something about this call for applications that piques your interest, whether it's the final grants, whether it's the entry into the startup and residence program, or whether that's the connections that you're able to make through the application. So hopefully we can provide you clarity with each of the steps that you guys are going to be going through, and then help you be able to make the best decision of whether this is the right call for applications for you. So clear right away, it's clear that we're focusing on Paytech startups here. But specifically, if you guys need some priorities to know where Desjardins really is looking for, startup and residence, specifically is looking for, then here are some of the areas that you guys can see whether your startup classifies under there. So anyone that's working on any kind of real-time payment solutions, and of course, there you're able to leverage Payments Canada's API data sets that they have provided for this. Anyone looking really as well navigating the open banking system, payment solutions with any kind of positive social impact. And there, that might seem like a wide breadth, but really anything around digital exclusion or inclusion, promotion of citizen-led community initiatives, newcomers, marginalized communities, Indigenous communities, et cetera. Anything around those spaces or solutions are looked at very positively. Any solutions that are using AI to help make informed decisions, payment solutions that serve any kind of circular economy, so the cash flow, payment solutions that are facilitate and improve the consumer payment experience as well. So that really goes around the consumer experience we talked about earlier. Of course, this is not a limited list, but these are some of the areas that we are looking for. So if you fall within that, that's wonderful. And if you don't, happy to take it on a case by case and see where you guys fall as well. Charles, I see that you've put a question on the chat, and that is post-selection, whether requirement terms attached attaining to the potential 250 convertible debt investment. So thank you for that question, Charles. I'll leave that one towards the end if you don't mind, and then I'll let Josephine address that question specifically as well. So we've kind of talked about some of the cash, and actually, Charles, your question is a good entryway into a high level. So if you're not aware, the cash grants that are awarded with the call for applications is 15,000 non-dilutive grants. And so following the call for application process, startup and residents will decide on those 3 startups that will receive the 15K grant, non-dilutive grant. Following that, and that kind of comes back to, and what I'll give maybe Josephine here actually a little bit of time to explain, but then there is admission into the Startup and Residence Accelerator Program and the potential of 250K investment. And so maybe Josephine, I'll let you touch on what are the requirements or terms attached towards that 250K.
Yeah, so about that, the terms of our standard cap is, it comes with a term sheet. And we will talk about this, I think, more in the kickoff session on the 27th of May to dig in more into the subject.
Thank you very much, Josephine. So Charles, we can also happy to take that offline if there are things there that might help make your decision of whether you're going to participate or not there too. So the criteria for you guys entering into the call for applications, or that we were really looking at, one is obviously a business that's incorporated, or maybe not obviously, but just to clarify, a business that's incorporated here in Canada. Your solution doesn't necessarily have to be geared towards Canadians, but the goal is to, as we said earlier, the purpose is to help the lives of Canadians. So if you are incorporating Canada, but your solution is focusing outside of Canada completely, that's something that we should probably spend a bit of time understanding from you. So if that is the case, please let us know, and we'll set up a meeting with you. That you abide by the rules that Startup and Residence has highlighted, of which we're going over here, that you have a minimum of a working prototype of your solution. So if you're still in the ideation phase or in the wireframing phase, you're a little bit too early. And if you, so at the very least, to have some form of a prototype that's been working. If you're not super clear on that, happy to answer that here, or like I said, set up a call with you guys one-on-one in case you don't want to talk about your product stage as well. So this is one we've had a lot of questions for, but that your company has not raised more than $1 million in funding. And so that's where I really want to highlight that your company is not at a more advanced stage so that you can get value of the program and that you can get value of the experience that we're going through. And that's really why that limitation is there. If you guys have any questions on that, I can also expand on that in a little bit. That you do have one of your founders who are working full-time. I should start by saying you should have more than one co-founder, but if you don't, again, we can talk about that. And that one of your founders is working full-time. That you do want to grow, you want to be a successful company. I think that's more the intention there. So if you guys are obviously entrepreneurs, hopefully thinking long-term as well, and that you guys are interested in getting coached and have hands-on experience there, as well as developing your entrepreneurial skills. So those are some of the things that we're looking for. The other thing that I also want to make sure that you guys are aware of as you apply for the call for applications, that your commitment is going to be at least to have one person from your team attend the sessions. It doesn't have to be the founder consistently, but probably the way we've built it and designed it, it's probably more advantageous that the founder is the one going to the sessions as well. So I'll pause here because I see a quick question on the chat. So Renee, your question is, the Startup in Residence program is an in-person program and an online program. Josephine, I'll hand that over to you to answer.
Sure, definitely. So it depends where you are based. If you're in Montreal, you can come in Notman House at our office. Otherwise, if you are like somewhere else, we can definitely do it online. It really depends on you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I saw Renee nodding his head, so that's great. Dan, I saw your question, and so it's, I just maybe want to clarify there in case I misspoke. The solo founders are eligible to apply. Okay, so hopefully that clarifies that. But just note that you will be expected to have somebody working full-time. Yes, perfect. And Renee, based in BC, but can't travel to Montreal. That's great. Love to see you guys here. I'm going to keep going, but if there are any other questions, keep them coming, please. Once you guys start the program, or once you guys start the call for application, what are you guys really going to be, what is the value you guys are going to be getting through there as well? So you will be getting a lot of visibility for your company. That's one thing that we try our best to do, not only through the ecosystem, but specifically targeted towards the financial institution sectors, through like regulators, and through people knowing who can support you on who you guys are and what you're doing. The other thing that we are looking to provide you guys with is content that's specifically tailored to support you in your development of your program as well, excuse me, in your startup as well. And so we've designed a few workshops to help you with that. Peer-to-peer sessions. So we know that a lot of you guys are always asking for support from other startups who have gone through something very similar. So we'll be providing you guys with access to that. We've highlighted industry experts that are going to be specialized in the areas of your startup so that you'll have one-on-one time with them. And then of course, you'll have one-on-one time with the Startup in Residence teams to make sure that you are also comfortable with the process. So very high level, what is this going to look like for you? The deadline to apply for this call for applications is Wednesday, May 24th. Tuesday, May 24th. That's why I was looking at Gigi, apologies. Tuesday, May 24th. So that's when the application is due. And so if you don't have access to that, we can also put that very quickly for you on the chat. Once you guys apply, there are a few workshops that we will be expecting you guys to attend. Some of them are one-on-one industry expert interviews. You will also then be given pitch day, which is on June 13th. So that's where you guys will be selecting 15 to 20 startups to pitch for that timeline. And then of top 8 startups will be selected to present during the final showcase as well. From there, the 3 startups will be selected. Again, the ones that I mentioned earlier who will be getting the 15,000 in non-dilutive grants, and they will be getting admittance into the Startup in Residence program, as well as FinTech Cadence's FinTech Hub program. This is a lot of information. So like I said, if you don't get overwhelmed, you guys will be getting a copy of this slide in your emails tomorrow as well. But just to kind of let you know the workshops that we're expecting and the timelines. As I mentioned, you guys will be applying by May 24th. We'll be making an announcement to you individually, and that's where we'll be picking 15 to 20 startups to proceed. From there, we'll have a kickoff. Very important for you to know, even from now, if you are selected, you will have to attend a virtual kickoff on May 27th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so just a heads up right now so that you guys are aware and prepared. Put it in your calendar, hold it right away. And then, like I said, we'll be selecting 15 to 20 startups on the 26th. And so we're expecting everyone to be there on the 27th. You'll then have 1 week of boot camp sessions. And so that's one call for your startup, 30 minutes with FinTech Cadence staff, as well as industry experts. And that's there just for them to get a better idea of your company, of you as founders, of your strategy and of your scaling strategy as well. So that's also very key for you guys to be aware of. So that's the boot camp. Following that, those are the two. We'll be hosting 2 workshops on the week of June 6th, which will be on the workshops will be held on the 7th and the 9th. One of the workshops will be around pitching. The other one will be around peer-to-peer guidance so that you'll be able to support each other. Following that, if you guys are still with me, week 3, you guys will have the opportunity to pitch. That's where we'll be selecting 8 startups. And then from there, we'll be having the final showcase. And then that will be done on June 22nd, where we'll be selecting 3 startups to proceed with the Startup in Residence program. So I know it seems like a lot of days and a lot of key things to happen. So maybe I'll just highlight very quickly what you guys need to know. Again, from now, your application is due May 24th. You will be told if you're going through by May 26th, and you'll be expected to be there on May 27th as well. Okay. Any questions on the dates, your attendance expectations, or the roles that these workshops play? Yeah, Renee, thank you for that question. So the question is, do you know what is the schedule for the Startup in Residence program, July or August? So the program will begin around July, if I'm not mistaken, sorry, Josephine. So if I'm not mistaken, the program will start then. But if you want to add anything.
No, actually, it's gonna begin in September, like early September.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification.
No problem.
Perfect. Is that good, Renee? Perfect. All right, so what comes next? Like we said, we'll be sending you guys all of this information and details. If there is anything, I'll give you a bit of space as well to ask any last minute questions here. But if you guys do have any questions following that, you can always reach out to us at info@fintechcadence.com. Make sure you save the date for the workshop, for the orientation kickoff on the 27th. And if you haven't already applied or haven't started your application, please do so on F6S. So before I kind of wrap it up, maybe I'll just pause here and see if there's any questions around anything that we have discussed so far. Or was everything explained to you guys wonderfully so? All right, Mohammed. So the question that was asked is, how does all of this tie into the real-time payments set out to roll out in Canada in 2023? So it's not directly linked to it, but what Payments Canada's involvement is with this, again, is the data sets, specifically RTR. So the real-time rails data sets, APIs that they've provided. And they want to see and make sure that there's a lot of innovation happening around the payment space. So this call for application is not directly linked to the RTR schedule that's about to happen in 2023. In fact, this is something that will help support that. So, and then I see the follow-up to that question, Mohammed, which is, what do these data sets include and where can we review the info and documentation? That will be provided to you guys as soon as you guys put in your call for application and your interest in participating there, but it's all hosted by Payments Canada and available on the Payments Canada website as well, if you're interested there. Before I go to Charles' question, that's good, Mohammed? Okay, perfect. So Charles, what's happening in September? Nothing to worry about. That is when, if you are selected to be part of the Startup in Residence program, and so once the call for application is completed and you're part of the 3 startups that have been given the non-dilutive grants and entry into the Startup in Residence program, the program will commence in September. All good there, Charles? I'm going to assume yes while you come back on. Any other questions? Josephine, I'll let you answer that on the chat there.
It's an 8 months program starting in September.
Okay, perfect. How many of you guys have started your applications? Not yet. Okay. So is there anything that's kind of preventing you guys from starting the application? Is there anything that you guys need more information on to help you make that decision? Perfect. So I see another question on the chat regarding the program, the Startup in Residence program. It's 8 months virtually. Josephine?
Virtually or like in Montreal, if you want, depending where you are situated.
Just to add to that, hi everyone, my name is Neve, part of the Startup Residence team, but we're fully virtual, but we do have offices in Montreal. So if you happen to be located in Montreal, you would like a place to work as well, you can come and we can do stuff in person as well.
Perfect. And Charles is asking, any potential convertible debt info would be at the end of this program, correct? And what if we get a term sheet before? So Josephine and Niv, if you guys want to answer that now, otherwise, if you'd like to take it offline, we can also set up a call to address that with Charles.
So just for the convertible debt for anything with the investment. So the way it works is we would invest while the program is happening. And in terms of if you have other terms, a term sheet that you get during the program, we're happy to match those terms for our investment and follow on.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Niv and Josephine there. All right. And Mohammed, I also see your question about this best suited for the program and the accelerate versus continue to build things ourselves. It's definitely up to you to see what's the best decision. These are programs that are developed for the ecosystem to see how best to support. And of course, participating in an accelerator program and Startup in Residence has many advantages, not only getting the guidance and expertise from the staff that you've already met two of, but also getting access and knowledge to what's the best way to operate and navigate and build your startup within the ecosystem. And then again, of course, the potential of 250K investment is also a very exciting one. But I think what might be, and I'm giving you a very high level answer here, Mohammed, to help you make that decision if you'd like, we can spend a bit of time seeing where you're at, what stage you're at, what you're really looking at getting. And the best thing there is to sit down with Belinda from our team to be able to support you to make that decision for you as well. Okay, perfect. So Belinda will be in touch with you, Mohammed, and we'll make sure to follow up as well. All right. Any other questions? Perfect. Well, then I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you guys very much for being here. Like we said, you'll be getting the email of this tomorrow with the recording, the slides, and more than happy to sit down with any of you guys or all of you guys one-on-one before you submit your application to support you with that and kind of answer any other more startup specific questions that you may have as well. So don't hesitate. That's actually what we're very excited to do. So don't hesitate to reach out if you do have more questions. And Mohammed will make sure that we stay in touch with you to answer your question as well. Thank you all very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.